Suddenly, I hear a loud bang on my door. I inform the dispatch of the banging, and she informs me that the police were not there yet.
Oh, God.
I thought it might be one of the gentlemen who helped me, so I looked out the eye hole, and it's him.
What?
The intruder's back. Well, guys, Rach screwed me.
Oh, why?
Well, I can't explain how at this point, but point being, I had to pivot my story last minute. So this one, what episode are we on? 104?
4 or 5? No, 5. 105. It's not my fault. Apparently, my episode last week was a little too similar to the one she wanted to do.
You know, I'll explain how she screwed me whenever I decide to do this story that I was planning to do. But for today's episode, I am going to tell some creepy encounters.
Oh, great.
Yeah. I'll be good.
Good.
I was digging through Reddit. These all came from Reddit, by the way. All sorts of subreddits.
Oh, my God.
I mean, did you know that the creepy encounters subreddit goes back like beyond 10 years?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like I saw someone, I went way back and someone used the R word in a post. I'm like, whoa. Yeah. Even 10 years ago, that wasn't okay. But
it's never been okay. Jeez.
No. But I'm like, whoa. Also, just a tidbit in case someone else doesn't know, the no sleep subreddit aren't real. Y'all probably all knew that. And everyone's like, no shit.
I've never heard of that subreddit. But Rebecca she was like, no sleep is right because these stories are crazy.
These stories are a little too crazy. So I finally had to like message someone and be like, are these all fiction? Not to say that you're a liar if you're lying. Because if you're not, my God. But he was like, yeah, they're fiction, horror fiction. I'm like,
oh, y'all should be very clear about that.
I know.
Or you should read the description of the subreddit.
I did.
Okay.
And what tipped me off is how they're all like very well written. I'm like, y'all are all authors or something.
Y'all are all lovely writers.
You're all beautiful writers and have the worst luck.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Good. I'm glad that many people
I learned
aren't
something
going
new,
through.
and I enjoyed it because I'm sorry. True crime. I like true.
True. Sure. I'm glad all those people have not actually experienced that. So.
Oh my God, me neither.
Good for them.
I mean, not me neither. Me too. And I apologize. Now my throat hurts. So here we go. Rach was sick last week. Here I am, sick this week.
I brought it to you over the weekend. Sorry.
It's okay. Story number 1. So I'm going to tell 4. You're getting 4 today. Much like you got 4 in our 100th episode. I'm killing it.
Totally. Oh, actually, speaking of the 100th episode, after that, we now have a running list of those baffling, like, what happened type stories to do every once in a while. I came across one the other day, maybe yesterday. I can't remember. Holy shit. I'm so confused. So we're going to throw more of those into the mix because...
Who is it?
Chuck Morgan. Ooh, don't Google it.
Okay. I know. I was saved so many Reddit stories, just like reaching out to person after person. Like, can I share your story? Can I share your story? Can I share? So assuming they'll all say yes, we have so many backlogged. Maybe we could like do one on a Patreon every other week or something. I don't know. Or to Apple subscribers or something, you know.
Oh, for creepy encounters?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, those are kind of 2 different categories, though.
What?
Like, I was talking like the baffling, like...
Oh, I know you were, but I was also adding to it.
Oh, sorry. All right.
All right, story number 1. And I'm not going to say anyone's handle, just FYI. In 2014, I moved to England from Canada to gain work and travel experience and also to, quote, find myself. I ended up living in Essex with 3 other roommates. They were all women, all a bit older than me. I was 24 at the time. Megan was 31 and from New York. Cherry was 34 and from New Jersey. And Cassie was 38 and from Poland. All 4 of us shared this 3-story flat. The back of our home was the living room and kitchen, and the back wall was completely glass that looked out into our garden, which was completely fenced in. The house had an interesting dynamic, to say the least. Tons of stories from that time in my life. God, I bet.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
I adored my roommates, except for Cherry.
Oh. I wonder if these are fake names.
They are, I'm sure.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure they are.
Great.
but we talked shit about Cherry here. After living with her for 7 months, I was over her antics. One day I came home from work. I locked the door, made myself something to eat, and went up to bed. I brought some work home with me. So I'm in my nightie with all these papers around me and my headphones on, jamming out. I had headphones on because Cherry was out to dinner with coworkers. That meant booze, which usually meant a tantrum was sure to come, and I didn't want to have to listen to her scream crying.
Oh my God. What a treat.
Cherry's a dramotional person. I get the sense.
She's out with coworkers. That means she's going to come home screaming, crying, drunk.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Fun.
It's
a good way to not get invited to dinner again.
No more work happy hours for you.
I'm working away and completely focused until I feel something. I look up to see a man standing over me. I don't register it right away and passively say, Cherry's room's on the second floor.
Oh my God.
And continue to work. Cherry regularly brought strange men home. He doesn't leave. And again, I say, Cherry's room is downstairs. And before I could finish the sentence, he interrupts and says, I'm not here for Cherry.
Oh God.
A cold chill iced my veins. My fight or flight kicked in just then. I started surveying the situation. I look him up and down, and he has a bottle of Prosecco in one hand and a knife in the other.
What?
Yeah.
Do we know what time it is? It's late?
Yeah.
Oh God.
I mean, dinner time, but she's still like working at night. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's about 5'10", wild, muddy brown hair and black eyes. He has a light blue polo shirt on and one side of his collar is popped up. And he has a distinctive Manchester accent. Once I focused in, I realized his eyes were black because his pupils were completely dilated. Shit,
Ooh.
I was in trouble.
Oh, God.
I know. I needed an escape plan. Unfortunately, this man was standing in between me and my bedroom door. I needed to get downstairs, but I needed for him to think it was his idea, so I decided I'm going to play along. Just then, he uses the knife to pop the cork of the Prosecco, and it starts flowing down to my carpet. I say, oh no, we better clean that up. I prefer to drink out of a proper flute anyways. And he nods and replies, yeah, you're a proper classy bird. Let's go.
Oh, God.
I try to act as normal as possible. I try not to show that I'm shaking all over and try to gain control of my breathing. We take the long journey down to the main floor of my flat, all 3 floors. He has the back of my nightie bunched up in one hand, and I can feel the tip of the knife graze my back.
Where are the other roommates?
They're all out and about.
Oh my God.
She's there alone though.
Oh God.
I was trying to playfully speak with him, and as we walked down the stairs, I couldn't tell you what I said, most likely rambling. I couldn't hear anything over the heart beating in my ears. We get to the bottom of the stairs, and there's a hallway to my left that leads to the front door, and on the right, which is much closer to us, is the kitchen and living room. We make our way into the kitchen. I point to the cabinets that had the wine glasses. He said he knew where they were.
Oh.
And started towards them. I now had the kitchen table in between us, and it was time to run. I burst into a sprint down the hallway towards the door. My hands fumble over the locks, and I'm shaking and sweating. I swing open the door and see these 2 men walking across the street. They must have been walking home from the train. There's a big train station in front of our home. I call out to them for help, and suddenly I am flung to the ground. Little pebbles piercing my skin sent sharp pains where they jabbed. The intruder pushed me out of the way to run and escape. One of the men chased after him while the other one told me to go inside and call the police while he surveyed my home.
Oh my gosh.
Good man.
Good.
I locked the doors and I called the police. While I'm on the phone with dispatch, I manically run around the house and double check that all the doors and windows are locked. Suddenly, I hear a loud bang on my door. I inform the dispatch of the banging, and she informs me that the police were not there yet.
Oh, God.
I thought it might be one of the gentlemen who helped me, so I looked out the eye hole, and it's him.
What?
The intruder's back.
How?
He came back. He's banging on my door, screaming that I had his glasses and that he wasn't done with me yet.
Tough shit, dog.
I know, fuck off. I absolutely freak out. The dispatcher attempts to calm me down, but I'm losing my ever-loving mind. She then said, the cops are pulling onto your street. You should hear the sirens. And I did, thank God. The intruder then blasts off into a run. One officer jumps out of the passenger seat while the car is still moving and chases after him.
God.
The second one comes to my home, interviews me, and the 2 men who saw everything. Glad they stayed.
Good to stick around.
Collects evidence, takes photos. After some time of him being there, Cherry comes home and freaks out. Once the situation was explained to her, she said, "Oh my God, that could have been me."
What?
Cherry is the absolute worst.
Go upstairs and cry into your pillow. We're done with this.
And she says, "Yeah, thanks, Cherry. It's all about you."
Oh my God. Shouldn't you be... Oh my God. I'm sorry.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Go be irrational upstairs.
Right.
I'm dealing with something right now.
The next morning, I'm called in to identify a man that they had in custody. I pointed him out immediately. I go into a little room, and the officer pulls out an evidence bag and asks me if these items were mine. They were. They were my underwear. There were photos taken of me from my home.
What?
And the officer informed me that this intruder had been stalking me for quite some time. He estimated about 3 months. He had made a nest outside of our home on the top of the hill that overlooked our living room and kitchen. He is a known sex offender and drug dealer. The officer then told me how lucky I was that I got out practically unharmed because others weren't so lucky.
Oh no.
I know.
Oh my God.
How insane is that?
That is insane. I'm glad they got him.
I know.
They could have put on that street with those sirens on and he could have just darted.
Mm-hmm.
And, well,
he did dart.
That is what happened, but
yeah, that is what happened.
He could have actually gotten away, you know.
Yeah. Luckily, not.
Oh my God. That is terrifying.
As is this one, and the next one, and the final one.
Oh my God. All 4 of them are?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah. And I carefully picked them out because I also read one where a guy was in a car and came out and a family had gotten in, and it was just a big misunderstanding. They had the same car. I was like, "Excuse me, could you go post this somewhere else?"
Can you go post this under silly coincidence subreddit? Or silly whatever.
Go post this. Yeah.
Silly misunderstandings.
Right.
That's where that belongs.
Story number 2. A few years ago, I was renting a house in Northern California just outside the suburbs. It seemed like the perfect balance
just
of having...
outside the suburbs?
I know. I think she meant in the suburbs.
Okay.
Just outside the city. In the suburbs is what I'm guessing.
Sure.
It seemed like the perfect balance of having space and having a nice neighborhood close enough to not feel isolated. Okay, she definitely meant that.
Yeah.
The area had no streetlights, so it was very dark at night, especially if there were clouds blocking the moonlight. It didn't bother me, though. It made my little house feel even more quaint on dark nights. I got home from work one day in the midwinter. It was a cloudy night, so pulling up to my house, I saw only what my headlights and front porch light illuminated. When I got out of my car, I caught a whiff of cigarette smoke. That always is so creepy to me.
Ooh, that is very eerie.
Right. Because there was only one way that will happen. You can't write it off to anything else. It's a very distinct smell.
Very distinct.
And the only way to get it is if someone is smoking near you.
But your neighbor, unless she knows that her neighbors don't smoke or anything. I don't know. But geez, that is eerie.
That was odd, as I never smelled that before around that house. So
there you go.
I didn't see anyone nearby, so I ignored it and went inside. I just got off a shift with a few hours of overtime, so I was pretty tired, and even though it wasn't even 7 o'clock yet, I decided to take a shower and call it a night. I woke up sometime later, certain that I heard a noise inside my house. I wasn't worried right away because my friend would sometimes stop by after work to use my shower on his way to his night classes. I even gave him a spare key so he could stop by even if I wasn't home, but he would always text me beforehand. I reached over to my bedside table and picked up my cell phone to see if he texted. The bright light from my phone screen and number pad blinded me. These were the days before phones had a light sensor that would dim the screen in the dark. And this particular phone was so bright I could use it as a flashlight. Through my squinted eyes, I could make out that it was 9-something at night, but I couldn't tell if he had texted or not. I set my phone aside and called out my friend's name. There was a couple of seconds of silence before I heard loud footsteps of someone running through the downstairs. I leaped out of bed and ran into my closet. They were already up the stairs by the time I opened the door and stepped inside.
Oh, God.
I know this one's like on an edge. This house had 3 rooms upstairs. My bedroom, a spare bedroom, which was on the either side of the hallway, and a bathroom at the end of the hallway. The bedroom doors were both closed, but the bathroom door was cracked open. I heard whoever was in my house thunder down the hallway, past my bedroom, and into the bathroom. Thank God he did. That gave me enough time to open the attic access in the ceiling of my closet and hoist myself up.
Oh, my God.
Thank God that's where her attic is. I had just started to lift myself up when the person ran back down out of the bathroom and into my bedroom. My feet were barely inside of the attic when my bedroom door burst open. I heard footsteps run into my room and stop. When they didn't see me in the room, they ran back to the hallway and into the other bedroom, which just had boxes stacked in the corner and some weights and a table. I guess they decided if someone were hiding, it would be back in my bedroom because they charged back into my room and turned on the light. A moment later, the closet door is ripped open.
Oh my God.
She is just right above this intruder's head.
Did she have time to pull up the attic stairs?
Yes.
She did?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was crouched in my attic just a foot or so away from the access, so I could try to stop him if he started to climb up. From my vantage point, all I could see were his knees down. He was wearing a dirty blue jeans and frayed cuffs and worn work boots. After a few seconds of looking in the closet, he stepped away and I heard a loud crash come from my room, followed by screams of frustration and anger. God. That scream was the most unnerving part of the incident for me. It reminded me far too much of my stepfather, who would scream in a similar way when he lost his temper. He was eventually put in a mental hospital for several mental disorders that resulted in erratic and violent tendencies.
Oh no.
So this is, yeah. The man in my house ran back downstairs. I heard more crashes and clatters as things were thrown around and furniture was knocked over. I stayed crouched in the attic. I left my cell phone on the bedside table when I ran for the closet, and I wasn't certain I could climb down without him hearing me.
No. Oh God, no.
I know.
Oh God.
After some time, the noises stopped. I started counting slowly. When I reached 1,000, I decided it was safe enough to climb downstairs and call the police. The first thing I noticed when I exited the closet was the intruder flipped my bed over. I assume in an attempt to look for me. That was the loud noise I heard after he stepped away from the closet. I couldn't find my cell phone, so I went to the landline by the bed and called the police. I waited in my room until I heard them call out from downstairs. The first floor was a mess, but I expected that. Chairs were knocked over, the sofa had been flipped over, all the books, pictures, knickknacks I had on my shelves were strewn across the floor. The cupboards in the kitchen were open and all the boxed and canned foods had been thrown to the ground. As far as I could tell, the only thing missing was a single knife taken from the wooden block in the kitchen.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Northern California is like Florida. I
know. It reminded
dangerous
me.
People in those mountain towns.
I know. I was thinking of the stories we have out of this area.
It really is.
It's like, wow.
God. The police checked the house from top to bottom. They found the side door had been forced open by something like a crowbar. They also found a few cigarette butts along my fence line, along with some foil and an empty pen, which police said is often used to smoke meth.
Oh, God.
So they think he had been watching my house for a while. I realized that he must have been out there smoking a cigarette when I got home. They collected some of it for evidence and told me that I should stay with friends or family that night and get that door fixed as soon as possible. I opted to just not sleep. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe you stayed in this house.
God.
I moved a shelf over to block the broken door and spent the next couple of hours cleaning things up. I would often go to the window with a flashlight and shine it along my fence line where the police found the cigarette butts and foil, but I didn't see anything.
I'm shocked.
I know.
That she was able to stay in that house.
Never.
That night.
No.
No way.
And like clean things up. I'd be like, I can't even,
Oh my God.
My mind would be elsewhere for the foreseeable future, unforeseeable future.
Right.
The next day I called to have the door fixed and motion lights installed at the back and sides of my house. I ran a phone cable up into the attic and added a landline. I never wanted to be stuck up there without a phone again.
Panic room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nothing else happened at that house though. I lived there for another 3 years without incident. Girl.
Did they find him?
You're brave as shit.
Yeah, you are.
One more precaution I took was practicing getting out of my bed and going into my closet and climbing up in the attic as quickly and quietly as possible. She'd time herself.
Wow.
I even kept it when I moved, except now I go into a crawl space that's in the back of my closet instead of the attic. I try not to think about what would have happened if I were a bit slower getting into that attic or if he hadn't gone into the bathroom first.
Yeah. They never found him?
No.
Who the hell was it?
Don't know. Very targeted, I feel like. He was on a mission.
Oh, and meth.
And meth.
That is,
Story number 3. And this is from a 24-year-old guy. Just some context.
Okay.
Almost a year ago, I was fresh out of college and just moved into an apartment with my middle school bestie and her fiance. I didn't mean to pick all roommate stories. I really didn't.
That last one wasn't.
The last one wasn't, but the three are.
Oh, really?
Yeah, three of
Wait,
the four.
I'm sorry. And you're going to have to back up already. He moved in with his best friend and his
Her
fiance.
fiance.
Oh, her fiance? Okay.
Yeah. This was after a long period of not seeing her in person. She and I had a long
Wow.
and great... I don't know.
Sort of a bizarre living
went to
stage.
separate college, and they probably just, as you do, stay in touch via Instagram or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
She and I had a long, great relationship with a few rocky periods. I didn't know her fiance well, but I met him a couple of times. He came off as kind of rude and loud, but nice enough for the most part. I let a lot of annoying shit slide because she was so in love with him, and I really just wanted to spend time with my best friend.
Well, and the fiance is letting this guy he doesn't know live with them. So.
Oh, no. I assume they got engaged after they moved in because this dude and his best friend, they're on the lease together. So they let the fiance or the boyfriend at the time, and then he proposed, move in.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And that does come into play here. That fiance is not on the lease.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Never mind.
Mm-hmm. Over the course of a few months, I slowly discovered that she was trapped in an abusive relationship with the most classic example of malignant narcissist imaginable. Their, quote, fights were really just him raging at her while she cried, and they escalated to the point where he was completely trashing the apartment, breaking her phone, broke her laptop, hiding her car keys, blocking the door, and grabbing her arms so hard she had bruises, all while hurling the worst insults at her. This man is about a foot taller and 100 pounds heavier than me, so there was nothing I could do other than give her a ride somewhere else away from him until the next day, but he did not like when I did this. God, I'm sure he didn't.
I bet.
Once it reached to the point of physical harm against her, I put my foot down and demanded that he move out or I would call the cops. He wasn't technically signed onto our lease, so I could kick him out. He begged for time to find a new place, and he said he was extremely drunk and high the night he hurt her, and he promised to stay sober until he moved out. Not wanting to escalate things, I agreed under the condition that nothing like that would ever happen again. Soon after this, they broke up.
Oh, good.
3 weeks pass and everything is going great. Ex-fiance found a new place to live and he is moving out the following week. He's training for a new job, and while still loud and inconsiderate, he hasn't caused any problems so far. One night, I got ready for bed early because I had an important meeting in the morning. I put on some pajamas and out of habit, I lock my door before I change. My bestie is working, and this is me. I think she works at a hospital or something. Just FYI. And it's just me upstairs in bed and ex-fiance downstairs yelling on the phone about something. I tune him out and I try to sleep.
Oh, God. He's still there?
Yeah, he moves out the following week.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
My chest rattles from the booming footfalls up the stairs to my room, waking me from my sleep. My eyes snap open to see my bedroom doorknob rattling back and forth. Locked. Again. Phew! Thank God. He forgot to unlock it. He lets out a yell of pure malice and bangs on my door. He screams my name, and it's so slurred he sounds like he's trying to impersonate a lizard man.
I don't know what that means. But...
I don't know what it means either, but it sounds like he's wasted.
Yeah.
Little does this guy know he's on the phone with his fiance saying that he's going to kill this guy and make his ex-fiance hear it.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. The hinges aren't looking good. We lived in a crappy, cheap apartment with thin doors, and I say the only thing I can think of, which was, what the fuck? Suddenly, the banging and screaming stops. My doorknob falls still, and after a terrifying moment of silence, he says flatly, "Open the door, bud. Just come on and open it."
Oh, that is the creepiest.
So creepy. And he says, I still laugh about that one. Like, after all that, I'm just going to go walk over and open the door.
Yeah. He's like, I got to play sober for a second. Hold on.
Right.
Let's see if this works.
Instead, I grab my essentials and jump out the window. I was on the second floor, but we lived on a hill, so the fall wasn't that high. But I still managed to fall wrong and had to hobble away as quickly as I could into my car and peel out of there.
Oh, good.
I called my best friend and warned her not to go home. We made plans for her to stay with a friend after she got off work, and I made it to that friend's house and passed out for a few hours. I woke up to a call from my friend. He went all the way to her workplace with a knife and broke in. He assaulted her and held the knife up to her special needs client's throat.
What? Oh my God.
And said that he was going to kill him in front of her.
Oh, that poor
Breaks my heart.
client.
Thank God a coworker overheard everything in another room and was able to call the police in time for everyone to come out alive.
Oh, good.
This is where he said my best friend also said he was on the phone with her while he was banging on my door and said he was going to kill me in front of and make her listen. I was totally alone in that apartment, sleeping upstairs in my bed. If I hadn't locked my door that night out of habit, would I even still be alive? No, probably not.
Oh, my God.
If I had left my car keys downstairs, would I have been able to get away? When I returned to my apartment the next morning, my bedroom door was completely kicked in. My belongings were everywhere, and the large butcher knives were missing from the kitchen and sitting outside my room.
Oh, my God. This guy is a lunatic.
This guy's a lunatic.
Don't say that's the end.
Oh, that's the end.
No, where's the arrest? And we don't have a name? I
scrolled through comments. Is there an update? Did y'all get him? I'm sure they got him, actually. They know his name. I mean,
we couldn't just ask.
Look, people are pretty slow to respond to me on Reddit. Of course, I'll follow up questions.
Right. That is...
I'll let y'all know. Guys, that's so unsafe. Should we gather all and any information, additional information? But, like, clearly he would have given it if they were available. So, story number 4. This happened to me years ago, but it still affects me to this day. I apologize for the length in advance, but I feel like I have to tell the whole story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we need.
That is what we need. The summer after I graduated high school, I was living at home. I was up late one night and was packing for a camping trip with my friends. It was unbelievably hot, and I had my window open as I sat and folded clothes. It was around 2 a.m, and the next thing I knew, there was a hand coming through the gap in the screen of my window.
What?
A hand coming through. I screamed, and the hand flew back out. I was stunned, but there was a part of me that wondered if it was my little brother playing a prank on me. I got up and locked the window and saw a figure of a man staring back at me.
Ugh.
I ran into my brother's room and saw him playing video games. We called the police, who came and searched the area. They found nothing, warned me and my parents to lock the windows and doors, and left, but my mom had a feeling he would come back. And it turns out Mother's intuition was right. She went outside and waited on the back porch.
Oh, badass mom.
Badass mom. My kids are never going to say that about me.
What? Yeah, they would. I would do that.
I'm not be brave like this.
Yes, I would.
Badass chick just was waiting on the back porch.
Yes. Come at me. Yes, you
maybe.
would.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
If a hand went through one of those little boys' windows trying to grab him, you wouldn't protect him, is what you're saying?
That's right. Of course I would. You're right.
I mean, yes, you would. Mm-hmm. Especially with that husband of yours.
Oh, I know. He'd be already out there. So,
well, he can't take care of all surrounding areas. Y'all be back to back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Just pacing the property. God, you're a monster.
German Shepherd.
Yeah. And Onyx, you're a monster.
I'd just be like holding those babies. Anyway. Oh, she's not a baby. She's like 18 at this point. So she went outside and waited on the back porch. After about 20 minutes or so, she saw a man dressed in black sling into our backyard along the tree line. Side note, there wasn't a fence on that side, unfortunately. He hid behind a tree for a few seconds and then ran to another tree and hid there, slowly working his way towards my window again. Did you not see is her mom there? Whatever. My mother yelled something at him and he took off running. The police came back and again found no trace of him. I never opened that window again, not even the curtains. My parents installed some motion detecting lights, and that seemed to be the end of that. About 6 months later, my friend and I got an apartment downtown together. We were really excited because this was our first place on our own. The apartment wasn't exactly the best quality, but it was so fun living in a big city. The downside was that it was street parking only. After a few weeks, my car was broken into. Nothing was taken, but a single rose sat on the passenger seat.
Ew.
It was creepy, but what could I do except vow to stay vigilant and safe? I always tried to park close to the entrance near the lights, but often it was difficult to get those spots, and I would have to park further away on darker streets.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they do, I don't know what city she's in, but in DC, if you're like parked illegally, they would tow your car to a legal spot. So often you don't even know where you're parked. You just have to walk around and find it.
Wait, that is so nice.
I know, isn't it? There's a number you can call where they're supposed to be like, yeah, we moved it to 13th and Irving or something, but
that is...
It's not funny. But sometimes they don't input it. And once my roommate called the police to report her stolen car.
Right. I bet they get that a lot. I'm shocked by this. Hold on. That's something to wrap my head around. They don't boot you. They don't tow you to a tow yard. They tow you and park you legally.
Yeah.
Just at their expense, or do you have to pay a fine? You have to pay a fine.
I'm sure you have to pay. I never had a car in DC. I never had to deal with it. Roommates, let me know. Remember?
I am shooketh by that.
Yeah.
How
I'm sure
nice.
you had to pay. I think you had to pay.
You definitely. There's no way.
Yeah. Okay, so she had to sometimes park further away on darker streets. Things quickly began escalating at this point. My car was broken into at least once a week. Most of the time, a flower was left, which I always threw on the ground. But once, a pair of men's underwear were left.
Ew.
And even more creepily, which I'm like, no, that's pretty creepy. But even more creepily, she says, once a bag of Tootsie Rolls were left, which was my favorite candy. This made me wonder if the person knew me personally, and I started becoming suspicious of everyone. There was a laundry room in the basement of the apartment building, and one day I went down to get a load, and as I started to fold them, I realized that all of my undergarments, bras, and panties were gone.
Stop.
How creepy would that be? Like, he was just watching you do laundry.
Gross. But Andy lives in your apartment. I mean, he has to.
Yeah, maybe. Another week, I had a male friend over from school, and his tires got slit during the visit. What a pain in the ass. By the time the first letter arrived, I had already started making plans to move elsewhere.
In DC, if they slit your tires, they come change it for you. Did you know that?
Did you know that?
In DC, if you call and report your tire slit, they'll come change all 4 of them with brand new, better, upgraded tires. Isn't that weird?
Isn't that nice? And your windshield wipers. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
The letter described a love for me that had been going on for years. He noted things that proved that he was watching me closely. And this is one of the questions I had. I wish I had more information on this, but unfortunately I don't. But I mean, if he knew her favorite candy was Tootsie Rolls, he's watching pretty closely.
She knows him. This is not, unless she stops and gets a Tootsie Roll at a gas station every single day. This is not like a stalker, random stalker. She knows this person.
Well, I was able to arrange for someone else to take over my lease, and I moved in with another friend on the other side of the city. It was a secure building and had an underground parking garage that was only accessible to tenants. I felt much more secure, and the extra money spent was well worth the peace of mind. Things were quiet for a few months. My roommate Ashley had a boyfriend, Matt, who she met online. He was nice enough, but always at our apartment, so I found any excuse not to come home. One day, I came home from work and found Matt on the couch alone drinking a beer. Ashley had been called into work, and she told him he could just hang out there. I was furious because I didn't want to spend any time with them, so I grabbed a beer and a snack and headed off to my room and shut the door. About 30 minutes or so, he knocked on my door and suggested that we watch some TV and get to know each other since we both loved Ashley. I didn't want to, but decided that maybe I needed to give him a chance. He put on a movie and I tried to focus on the TV because I didn't really feel like talking. At one point, I glanced over to Matt, and he was staring at me with a smile on his face.
God.
I snapped a what? And he continued smiling and said, I just can't believe it. And she asked, believe what? And he said nothing, and they went back to watching the movie.
Oh, God.
I had no idea what he was talking about, but the interaction had every hair standing up on my body. I excused myself and locked the door to my room. Another month or so went by, and I managed to avoid being home except for sleeping and showering. Matt practically lived at our apartment and even brought a bunch of his things to move into Ashley's room. I really didn't want to move again, but started to look at other options. On their 6-month anniversary, which is a big pet peeve of mine, side note.
Because it's not an anniversary.
It's not an anniversary.
Sure.
On their 6-month anniversary, I saw a huge bouquet of flowers on the table and an already opened card propped up next to it. I rolled my eyes and was about to leave when I decided to look and see what the weirdo wrote to her. When I opened the card, I immediately started shaking.
Get a laugh out of this bullshit. Let me see what this douchebag wrote. That is so funny. Wait, sorry. Say the second part though.
When I opened the card, I immediately started shaking. It was the exact same handwriting of my stalker.
Holy shit.
I had kept all the cards as evidence, and I dug them out of my desk for comparison. The handwriting was unique and identical. Matt was my stalker. She said from the beginning, she and their other friends were very weirded out by him. For one thing, they met on MySpace, and he reached out to her.
Okay.
Secondly, and this is kind of...
Oh,
But she said he was extremely good looking while Ashley was a wonderful person, she didn't seem to be, quote, his type.
She outshot her coverage.
Way to put it.
Okay. There's no nice way to put that. But okay. But
like they were always like, why did he reach out to her on MySpace? Like yeah, it's batshit. He was also on the quieter side, but always seemed to be sporting an uncomfortable, leering smile. It was difficult to carry on any sort of conversation with him because he would always make it weird with some random facts that were completely unrelated to what we were talking about, which I would love an example, but I'm like, yeah, that's...
Totally.
Totally.
Yeah, you've been in those weird, awkward conversations before. Yeah. I don't care how good looking he is. Then maybe he shut out his coverage.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's a creep.
Yeah.
I deleted my MySpace when the initial stalking began, but I created a dummy one to learn more about Matt. It didn't really look like he knew any of his, quote, friends in real life. There were only pictures of himself, and the rest of his information was vague. My friends and I gently tried to discourage her from saying, this is all the buildup to when she finds out.
Yeah.
Like, my friends and I gently tried to discourage her from seeing him, but she would immediately get defensive and shut down the conversation. So here she is. She opens the card. She sees, holy shit, this is my stalker.
Yeah.
So she calls the police. While they're on their way, she calls Ashley and asks her to come home. She was at work and said she would get there as soon as she could. I was terrified to tell her because I knew her world would shatter. Aww. The police took a statement from me and then actually went to Ashley's work to get more information from her, and they ended up breaking the news to her. They told her not to say anything to him, but she didn't listen.
She didn't?
No. She left him a furious voicemail, and he completely disappeared after that.
No.
There was no Matt or anyone matching his description at the place he said he worked. Ashley had never been to his apartment because he told her that he was couch surfing with friends to save money for a trip to Europe.
Oh, you're the worst. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna mooch off all of my friends so I can save up money, not for shelter, for a trip.
I know. It's clearly a lie. He has no friends, obviously.
Oh, right. But
I'm like, that's not even believable. I'd be like, go to hell. No. I'm envisioning they're in New York City. I have no idea what they are. If they're in any big city and they're fresh out of college, please. Those apartments are tiny, and I'm going to say no.
Come up with a lie that makes you look good, not like a piece of shit.
Yeah. His family lived out of state, and she had never met a friend of his because he said that they all had a falling out. Again, I'm like, these aren't good lies. I don't want to date you regardless, even if these were true. These are all red flags.
Yeah, me and all of my friends had a huge fight.
Right. The reason for the fallout was because he was choosing to spend so much time with Ashley. Oh. It was all lies. And in the end, she was dating a stranger. We have no idea if his real name was Matt. The cherry on top of this whole thing was when we went through his things. Because when he disappeared, he just up and left.
Yeah.
So me and Ashley decided to go through it. There was a duffel bag full of his gym clothes. Gym membership.
What?
He has a gym membership. That's even more annoying.
That is annoying.
I'm just kidding. But in one of the compartments, there was about 10 pictures of me. All were taken from far away with the exception of one of me sleeping. The sheets were current, so I know it was taken in the current apartment before I started locking my door at night. But a few pictures dated back to before the incident at my parents' house.
What?
Which makes me think it was him who reached in her window.
I forgot about that part.
Right.
Holy
Two pairs
shit.
of my missing underwear were there. I shudder at the thought of what he did with the rest of them. A Starbucks lid with my red lipstick marks. A necklace I hadn't even noticed was missing. And a few other random sick souvenirs. What? Saved her Starbucks lid, dude.
Gross.
The police never tracked him down. I decided to accept an opportunity overseas and got the hell out of there. Unfortunately, Ashley and I quickly drifted apart. She had a really hard time accepting that her first love was a complete psycho. I think I had some underlying anger. Yeah, because it was her call to him that led him to flee.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, that hurt. She said, I have underlying anger, maybe misplaced, for believing all of his lies and letting him into our lives. I don't know what his endgame was. Would he have ever tried to hurt me, or was he simply content with being in my world? I'll never know. Unfortunately, I think I do. I don't think he would have been content with that.
So pissed off at you.
I know. At Ashley.
Well, and you, for bringing this story to us because I have so many questions. So she saw him in plain sight. She didn't know him. My bad.
I know. That's why I was like, no, she does not know him.
What?
Let me just end with her last.
Okay, sorry, go on.
Being stalked changes you. Even when I lived across the world, I looked over my shoulder everywhere I went. I still have no social media accounts attached to my real name. I'm married with children and know that he moved on to torment some poor other woman. But every time I visit my hometown, I am tense and keep a low profile. Part of me will always worry that Matt will resurface again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so she did not know him.
That is
He just
insane.
figured out her roommate and reached out to her, started dating her, and he had bigger plans, I'm sure.
I'm like shook by this. Okay.
I know. So many questions.
That is so eerie to see how close that person's been to you for years and you never knew who it was. And then when you actually see him in plain sight, like face to face, they were so good at it. It's not like when you randomly see the same person at the grocery store 15 times in a week and you're like, that's so weird. I keep seeing that guy. Yeah. She never had that with this guy. No. Total stranger. And he was watching her that closely. That is.
And that entire time.
Creepiest.
Pictures dating back to before the incident at her parents' house. I was like,
ugh. How?
Oh, God. I have no idea.
I mean, maybe MySpace. Jeez.
Yeah, maybe.
Just like found her and was like, oh, hell yeah, she lives in my city.
Yeah.
And just like became obsessed. Especially if you're active on your social media. I don't remember what MySpace. I don't
remember if you could if you give a, well, no, you wouldn't like track you.
Well, if you posted pictures in real time a lot. I never had a MySpace.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Me neither. I think I did to check out a guy I dated.
Oh. Is it still active? Are you still active on it?
There was that guy, Jeremy, remember? I dated him. He was like 25. I was 18.
Oh, God.
And he ghosted me. And
I was my God.
What is this thing? Where you just don't ever answer?
The most devastated. Rebecca was so upset.
I know, which is so weird.
He just stopped responding, and then we found out why. Was that because of MySpace? I thought we found out on Facebook.
I don't remember.
He got some other girl pregnant. Spoiler alert.
God, I swear to God,
it shook. Your camera just shook
my house. Oh, there's a tree being cut down outside my house, but I fear that it fell on the house because it's freaking loud, man.
How is Onyx not losing his shit?
I know. I know. A lot of follow-up questions here. Sorry.
Oh my God, I'm so mad at you.
Is it so annoying to have so many unresolved issues?
No, it's just what the story is.
It is what the story is. He disappeared, and I'm like, I mean, I know she was pissed. I mean, I guess it was their 6-month anniversary, and a lot of time was wasted on this guy she thought she was in love with. But refrain from calling him. He's not right. Let the cops get him. There's a serious issue here.
Right. Wow. But she's a victim too, and now you're victim blaming, so good job.
No, she is, but I'm like, no, but listen to the police when they say, all right, because I'm sure they're like, he's a flight risk, so no one, just keep this under wraps. This is a very serious case. And it's escalating. He's getting closer and closer. So let's go get this guy first. Patrons. Nikki, Kaylee, Izzy, Rupi, Thorbian. I hope I'm saying that right. Deanna, Teresa, and Mazzy. Not Mazzy Star.
Although it's not Mazzy Star?
Mm-mm.
Fade into you.
Licensing. I'm just kidding. You can sing it. Can't play it.
Really? I don't think so. I think you can't sing it. Whatever. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining, everyone. I have a couple of customs. First one's from Rupi. I wanted to shout out my amazing husband of almost 17 years, Ken, and ask your listeners to please spread the word that we are looking for a kidney donor for him.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We are a young-ish couple from BC, Canada, and have two amazing daughters who would love for this to be our year where we get his kidney and continues being a great husband and father he is.
Oh, no.
Anyone can have a look at our Instagram page. It's Kidney for Ken.
Kidney for Ken.
Yeah. Ken. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Everyone, Kidney for Ken. Hold on, I'm going to
Ken. Go.
I'm in that database.
For kidney?
No, for the, does that not transfer to everything?
I don't know.
Be the
We've
Match.
talked about it before. It's important.
Yeah, Be
Okay.
the Match. Is that international? I bet not.
I don't know.
Because
So y'all go and check it out. I'm sure she has a webpage on there. Right?
Yeah. Kidney for Ken. Oh, this is y'all's year.
This is y'all's year. Let's make 2024 their year, people.
Website.
And if they're young-ish, and their daughters are also very young, I'm sure.
Yeah.
The second one's from Nikki, and it's a shout out to us.
Oh,
I'd like to shout out you two fabulous ladies. That's good because I read a negative review, so this will uplift me real quick. Yeah. I've had to face a great deal of loss and grief in the past 12 months, including close family members, pets, a friend, and the end of my relationship. God.
Oh no.
As well as facing the brutal justice system as a victim of a serious crime.
Oh God. I am so sorry.
I'm so sorry too. It's going to be your year too, okay?
Yeah.
It's been tough, but these past few months since being introduced to your podcast and binging it daily, I've managed to laugh literally out loud so many times every single episode.
That is so nice.
We are here to serve.
Oh my God.
That we are grateful to do that for you. If we can make your Thursdays even a little easier, it's all worth it.
Yeah, really. I'm sorry.
Oh God.
Thank you for that shout out. That was so nice.
Thank you so much. That was so nice. Thank y'all so much. As always, y'all are the best. People are the worst.
Everyone else sucks.
Bye.
Bye.